Ahoy, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the BBC Spews Live. What's the date? It's the 9th of December 2023. I've been here for years and I'm still getting used to doing the date the wrong way around. Who's in the chat? Let's have a quick look. Resistant Geordie's in. All right. Willie's in. How now then? Craig Withy, English Realist, Packer, Old Mega, Davy Boy, the Codhead, Colonel Custard, HRT, Dinosaur, Richard Eric, Beardy, Monty, Stevie C at the North, Harold Stewart, Sausage Dog, Tony Keogh, Richard Eric, Karen Megson, Grumpy Sapper, King Alfred 19, Ron Morgan, Stevie Orn. Anyone else I've missed now then? Too many of you to go get a name drop, isn't it? I hope you're enjoying your Saturday night across the pond. There's a lot of good news to talk about this week. More of it along the lines that you might expect, which is up is down, left is right. I demand, because my feelings have been hurt, I demand the right to jam 5,000 square pegs through the equivalent number of through 2,000 round holes. This is the lunacy that we call the modern age. And I think I should talk about this one first. There's four really that I want to pick apart. But the first story I'm going to cover is the students demanding a Cardiff University tackle sexual violence. But here's the kicker, right? Because what the lefties want to do is they want to tackle sexual violence while simultaneously being constantly soft on crime and pro-open borders to young, hairy blokes who statistically do the vast, vast majority of sexual assaults. I'm just putting that out there. If you were to look at the numbers for who does the most fucking, it's probably going to be, just putting it out there, men aged between about 16 and 40 years of age, which coincidentally is the gender and age of the tens of thousands of unvetted migrants that we welcome into the UK every year and send them to schools and universities. Leading on from what my video was about yesterday, which is our penchant for sending big hairy-arsed 30-year-old men to secondary schools, because that is a brilliant idea. So this is a classic example of what I'm talking about. It's we demand that you perform fucking miracles. Because Jesus H. Christ himself couldn't do this, could he? He couldn't simultaneously demand that the courts constantly treat people with kid gloves, demand that the prison numbers come down, demand that the judges and activist lawyers get unleashed upon the courts to wreak havoc upon the lives of normal working class people that want to see the laws enforced. Totally brand the police officers toothless and incompetent. And then whilst doing all of that, suddenly demand that the university tackle sexual violence. You all know this. It's logical, inherently logical. If you want to tackle sexual violence, there's one way to do it. It's to stop fucking treating men, rapey men, with kid gloves. If they started treating people that perpetuate sexual violence with the, I don't know, legal equivalent of a boot in the bollocks, maybe the statistics would come down. And I'm just putting it out there that people like me, and I'm sure the majority of people that watch this channel, have been talking about this for years, saying, why are we so soft on fucking crime? Why? I'll tell you what, let's look for a grooming gang. Grooming gang, BBC. Let's look at some sentences for, I'll just pick a few random sentences. I'll type in grooming gang sentenced BBC. There we go. Found one straight away. So let's have a quick look at this one. Okay, you want us to tackle rapey men. I've just found you a nice example. Rochdale grooming predatory gang. So this is a fucking horrible crime, right? Perpetuated against the most vulnerable people in society by big, hairy, scary blokes. There they are. Okay, I'll tell you what, they've proved me wrong there. I thought all 5 of them were going to be followers of the religion of pieces, but there's also a jippo in there. There's also a drunk, homeless jippo who looks like he's been rogered senseless by the other 4. Doesn't he? The other 4 look relatively chirpy compared to this fucking bloke, this desolate figure down here. He looks like the rest of them. The rest have bummed him senseless. But just as an example, so these fucking rat bags, sickening abuse of 2 teenage girls. Pick them up, highly predatory, appalling abuse, plying them with drugs, 13 and 14-year-old girls getting bummed senseless. So the paedophiles and rapists, right? Not much worse than that, is it? And giving alcohol and drugs to little kids. So drug dealers, paedophiles, rapists, abusers, torturers. Let's see what happened to them, shall we? Girl here was abused by Mighty Moore, obviously, Mighty Moore. Multiple sexual encounters with men, one after the other. The dirty bastards, obviously, they're like stirring each other's porridge as well, the filthy fucking bastards. Garney was jailed for 14 years and 6 months, so he'll be out in about 6. Right, he'll be out in about 6 years. Do you think that is think that's a good deterrent? Raping men? Think if you were a predatory drug dealer, child torturing, rapist, paedophile, 6 years in prison would deter you from doing it again? Because I don't. No, I think you'd be like, fuck it. Worst case scenario. In fact, if you're clever, you could be like, right, I'll tell you what, I'll knock the drugs on the head. I'll knock the abuse on the head. I won't do any raping because I'll make sure they're over 16. You could just be a predatory sexual assaulter and you probably only get 6 months. These bastards, torture, rape, pedo dealer, he'll do 6 years in jail. I don't think that's a fucking, that's not a deterrent, is it? Fuck it. It's like, oh, well, murder now. Well, people commit murder now and they get like 8 years. Like, if you really, really hate someone, fuck it. You know what I mean? In for a penny, in for a pound. That seems to be the attitude that we've got in the British courts. At least in America, they still occasionally give people a fucking 25,000 volt lazy boy, right? That's an idea I can get behind. But this shit, it's ludicrous. What about the rest of them? Sex addict. Oh yeah, bumming a load of kids. He was jailed for 20, so he'll be out in 10. Insar from Bishop Street, he'll be 17 years, so he'll be out in about 8, 7. 8 years, so that one. So obviously they didn't get him on the abuse or the paedophilia or the drugs. They just did Ali Raza for rape. And he got 8 years. So he's going to be out in 3.5, isn't he? See what I'm saying? You get fucking 3.5 years for raping kids. Right? So there we are. There's Exhibit A. 3.5 years for raping kids. And yet, apparently, the students at this Cardiff University demand we tackle sexual violence. It's always the same with these fucking fruitcakes, isn't it? Like, they always want the state to have more power to tackle problems, but they never give the state the power to actually tackle the problem. So when they make demands of the government, it's always to do like more spying. You know what we should do? Put more CCTV cameras in. Well, I'll tell you what we should do to get rid of sexual violence. I think what really causes sexual violence is people like the Angry Bootneck making mild sexual quips whilst trying to be witty. So what we should do is we should ban people from making sexually charged jokes or comments. That'll help. Yeah. Meanwhile, Ali fucking Bing Bongs is conquer deep in some teenage girls and he gets 3 years for it. All right. Fair dues. Fair dues. Just do that then. But don't come crying, you woke lefty twat in your shit university, when some girl gets one horsed into her in an alley. And it's by someone who recently moved here from the third world. And when they get done for it, they get 3 years in prison. All right? I'm just saying. I haven't even read the story. I've gleaned this from the headline. I'll tell you what, I'll do my journalistic diligence and read the story. Students campaigning to stop sexual violence say they will fight to ensure the university acts. 691 sexual misconduct reports. One student said they were laughed at when speaking of sexual violence at a staff meeting. It also said it was concerned to hear students' experiences of sexual violence. Becca Rumsey co-founded the campaign group. They've all got a campaign group. Male academics were laughing when we said they had to support the students. It's very disappointing. They don't protect people. A stranger left me scared to walk home alone. Well, who cares, right? Freedom. Aren't you the ones who walk around with your tits out and say things like slut walk? Yeah, I have the right to get my baps out in front of the local Bell End church on a Friday. So just suck up with it. This is what I'm talking about like no accountability and no common sense and no logic to anything they say. I listened to Chris Williamson's podcast when he was talking to that. Is it Louise Perry, the the women's rights campaigner? And she was saying, like, because she's not a lunatic, she'll tell her daughter to practice logical, reasonable measures to make sure she doesn't get attacked. These ones, in yet another case of insanity, mind-boggling insanity, they want to be soft on crime, but somehow drag the sexual assault figures down. They want to import tens of thousands of men, random blokes, hairy-arsed fucking geezers from the third world countries. They want to import thousands of them, but feel safer when they go for a walk. How are you going to feel safer when you go for a walk? I'll tell you how you'll feel safe when you go wrong, when there's less hairy-arsed blokes in alleys with flick knives. But you don't want us to do anything about that. You want us to bring more men over to Cardiff University, and you want us to hamstring the police. But you also want us to make you feel safe when you walk down the street with your tits out. It's impossible. It's impossible. You're asking for the impossible. I'll tell you how you feel safe. Walk down the street in a fucking Mac, dressed in a frumpy manner, whilst marching alongside a large man, your dad, then you'll feel safe. But you're not willing to do any of that. You demand that we import more men, and you demand we go soft on crime. So you can't demand that we also do something about sexual violence, because all of the measures that I would take that would definitely tackle sexual violence, you won't let me carry out. I'd tackle sexual violence. If this said students demand Angry Bootneck tackles sexual violence, I'd get it fucking sorted, kids. I'd get it sorted. I'd be like, if you sexually assault a woman on Cardiff University campus, I will have you fucking flayed. I'll bring you out every Monday morning. We will bring out the serial sexual abusers, and then I will bash their knackersack wafer thin with a croquet mallet, while all the school looks on and cheers. But you'd balk at that, wouldn't you? Oh, he's being mean. He's being mean to the thousands of men that we demanded he import. I'd put a stop to it all. I'd stop letting fucking random blokes in from the third world. I would deport anybody who got so much as a parking ticket. And I would have a fucking ring of steel around the university. But you won't have it, will you? You won't have it. These are the same brain-dead split asses, right? These are the same ones that stopped a bloke. Do you remember when they were trying to deport a load of blokes and some weepy fucking student jumped up and refused to take a seat so they couldn't let the plane take off? And one of them was a rapist. Like, they were trying to deport a known rapist and abuser of women, and the government couldn't do it because some gobby teenage student stood up and said, I'm not taking me fucking seat. And then, okay then, Iqbal, funny old thing, is off to do a bit more fisting on Cardiff University campus. We tried, you wouldn't let us help. I mean, what do you want me to do about it? What do you want me to do about it? Every single action I would take to tackle sexual violence, the left and all these fucking students would whinge about it. Anglo-Saxon, Merry Christmas, Matt, and everyone in chat. Merry Christmas to you, Anglo-Saxon. Thank you for the pint of piss that I will promptly consume tonight. I do like Christmas. I've told you a lot. I'm big into it, even though I'm a secular chap. I think if you don't like Christmas, you got diddled as a child. Look, I've got a tree. Look, I set him up there, a little mini one behind me filming space, and some stockings. It's not a large knife. Somebody thought it was an axe or a weapon of some kind. I'm American now. I've got a firearm. In my bedside table, I've got a pistol, 50 rounds of ammunition, and a commando dagger. So I'm tooled up. I don't need a whatever you thought that was. So yeah, that is exactly. It's just laughable to me. They want us to take action, but they cry when we take any action. So suck it up, girls. Suck it up, you lot. When you're getting rogered senseless by a bloke who snuck over in a fucking bathtub, just remember, I would have sorted it out. I would have gave them a 25,000 volt reclining chair for Christmas. I would have happily bludgeoned them with a fucking brick on campus in the Students' Union for free. But you won't have it. So you keep cheating them with kid gloves and importing more men, and I'll keep laughing when you're complaining about suddenly getting fucking folded up like a deck chair above a kebab shop in fucking Grimsby. All right? Unlucky. Unlucky, girls. Unlucky. I did my best, but you wouldn't have it. Oh, hey, she's tidy, the one at the back. She'll be in bother. She'll be in bother when Iqbal gets hold of her. Right, let's have another look. What else did I want to do? Oh no, Rochdale grooming. I've lost my other story now. Twat. Okay, it's none of them. Wanker. Oh, here we go. There's a good one I was going to talk about. You know what this one reminded me of? Again, me and Sadwings keep telling you lot, we've got our issues here in America, we do. But fuck me. The UK and Canada is completely shagged. Did he? Did Dankula call it the silly twat, the holidays? That reminds me, I work for quite a big corporation, and last week the HR bird sent out a fucking email about the holidays. And I was reading it, and it didn't even start with Christmas at the top. It started with Yule, and they were telling us about the wonderful Scandinavian tradition of having Yule logs. And then it was like, then they did Christmas. And then it was fucking Hanukkah and Kwanzaa, some dog shit African one that started in the 1960s. And I was like, why is this communist sending me emails? Why? I don't want to celebrate commie holidays, thanks. I don't even believe in God, and I like Christmas. That's what I'm saying, because it's a great holiday. I'm a like agnostic sort of secularist person, but I have a soft spot for Christianity, because the only time in my life I remember being genuinely happy and not being a miserable bastard was Christmas. I fucking love Christmas when I was a bairn. Growing up in the borough, it was mint. Not a great place to grow up, Middlesbrough, but Christmas was hoofing. It was like, used to have the last day of Christmas before you went on holiday at primary school. I used to walk home. It gets dark right up north. Mega weird compared to out here in California. When you're walking around at like 3:30, I used to walk home from school at 3:30 in like December, and it was dark. It's because it's weird, like how early it gets dark back home. And I used to love it. I remember walking home and it was like getting dark and it'd be snowing, and walking past all the Christmas lights, and I'd be full of candies because I've just left school, and it was like last day before the Christmas holidays, you'd just do like a carol service on the morning and then troughing fucking chocolate oranges all day instead of eating properly, and then walking home in the snow. And I used to love it. So I think if you don't like Christmas, well, I think I played it for you last year. I like that. I like the song. It's cliched to be cynical at Christmas by fucking hell, who's the band? The Half Man, Half Biscuit. it's cliche to be cynical at Christmas. And because of that, I think that people do it like goths, trendy people. They say it because like they think it's makes them look cool in it. And it is, it's cliched to be cynical at Christmas. It's a good time of the year. It's for the kids, even if you don't believe in any of it. It's good. It's a time for children. The best time of your life is when you actually believe in Santa Claus. And there's a brief period there between the age of about like 3 and 7 when I really believed in it, and I fucking loved Christmas. Couldn't sleep because I was too excited. Go downstairs. My mum had bought me a load of shite and put it on the fucking. I remember we had a 2-seat and a 3-seat setting in our front room, and my mum used to put mine on the 2-seater. And I remember I'd get like He-Man figures, and I remember one year I got a Castle Grayskull and a drawing pad with loads of pens and pencils because I've always been into drawing, even when I was like 4. Sniper Sight's a non-believer himself, but it's becoming more obvious that the West needs Christianity to keep us decent. It's something I've grappled with for a long time. I know some of you have followed me for like 3.5 years now or whatever. I was a chippy atheist when I was a young man, but as I've aged, I have sort of moved on Christianity. I can't bring myself to believe in that it's true, because 40 years not believing it, I just can't. I can't accept the fact that all the science that I know, the biology and the physics and the age of the Earth and the radiocarbon dating and the fucking 4.73 billion years or whatever we've got, the fossil records. I can't bring myself to believe in it, but I have a soft spot for Christianity, and I'll just leave it there. I think the best years of my life was singing hymns when I was a bairn, and I like York Minster and I like the churches, and I think our lives were better when we did believe in it, even though I can't really myself like. So anyway, yeah. Well, thanks for the Christmas messages. I love Christmas. I'm a big believer in it. I think it's important. Yeah, that's true. Sad ones. Well, they're cliched as well, aren't they? Wankers that go on about it all the time. Basically, like I keep telling you, if you're going about something all the time, you're a boring bastard. I do my politics with the 90% of it in a humorous manner because I'm not a serious person. I try to enjoy my life. If you're the type of person that makes placards, goes to protests, and whinges about stuff all the time, one fucking topic, you become a boring bastard. And atheists are the exact same, right? Going about it all the time. I really don't care. Anyway, let's do this story. Let's stop talking about Christmas for a bit. This one is, it blows my mind. I can't believe you can get sentenced for that in the UK. And this is what I keep saying. The best thing about it is the commies and the racial ideologues in the UK, they know it as well because they love rubbing it in your face. The amount of times I've seen Ash Sarkar go on Twitter or YouTube and gleefully crow over people that you can get arrested for being racist. She crows about it because she constantly racially abuses white people. She does. She always mocks white people for being white. Oh, white people do this. She made a video going, oh, look, we're winning now. We're winning. Yeah, look at this. We're outbreeding the white people. We're winning. If you're going to sentence people for racist WhatsApp posts, then you have to prosecute people like fucking Hamza Yusuf and Ash Sarkar and everybody else that gleefully crows over purposely being racist to white people. Blue Van Man made alive. I haven't seen him for a while, have we? How are you doing? I'm glad to see you still making content uphill against the machinations of the YouTube crowd. Yeah, nice to see you again. But seriously, the law has to be blind. The law has to be applied equally. And this type of shit proves that A, it definitely isn't, and B, our enemies know that the law's on their side. They love crowing about it. Hamza Yusuf loves crowing about it. He loves it. He loves going on television going, white people. Did you see that Van Jones? There's a commentator out here called Van Jones. And he went on the telly and said, yes, we are asking white people to accept the fact that we want them to be a minority in this country. That's just being racist. They know they are. They know the law's on the side, and they love crowing about it. So this shouldn't even be a thing. But out of morbid curiosity, let's read it. So if you didn't know, yes, they are sentencing people in court over WhatsApp posts, which is, if this doesn't blow your mind as much as it does me, you're not paying attention. This is a much, much bigger deal than people seem to think it is. Buy myself a shot of whiskey and toast our all. I will do, Sad Wings. Thanks very much. Cheers, mate. I'm getting pissed tonight, actually, for a work do. And I believe they're paying for it, because in America, they do crazy things like that. In the UK, they never pay for the booze at holiday parties, because if they did, the fucking holiday party would be on fire 20 minutes after it started. But out here, that's what they do. Crazy times. I'll use that to tip the bartender. How about that? If this story doesn't alarm you, you're not paying attention. This should be the top headline on every fucking news outlet going, because this really is a fundamental attack on everything we hold dear in the Western world. It is truly, truly shocking. The fact that this can happen means that we are not free people. And the thing is, I've talked about it a lot, because people like me that lean conservative, because we've grew up and we've gone through all the different political opinions, going from being, socialist type when you're a teenager and you don't know anything, to being more moderated as you get older, and then you get into your 40s and you go, never really considered myself conservative, not anti, don't believe in G-boo, don't read the Bible, don't go to church, don't care about abortion or euthanasia or drugs or gambling or vice. Never considered myself to be a conservative person, but you just realise that it's better than the alternative, is the short version. And then you get to things like this, and you realise that another fundamental thing that works with the conservatives is that it's like, is it Chesterton's fence? Have you heard of Chesterton's fence? The thought experiment that says, if you're walking through a field and you see a fence, a conservative people, you just see like two fence panels, and it appears to serve no purpose at all. A left-wing person will just say, we don't need that fence, get shot of it. And a conservative person, as I always say, is risk-averse. I'm a risk-averse person. You see the fence, but you don't go, fuck it, get rid of it. You say, let's see why that fence is there. Let's find out why that fence is there, and we'll do a thorough walk around it. Yeah, not black. Well, I made that comment in several videos, haven't I? Lady Justice, she's not just been eyes gouged and skull fucked. Now she wears a pussy hat. She wears a pussy hat and a fuck Trump t-shirt. And she's a militant fucking activist, so we shouldn't listen to her anymore. But essentially, just look at the names of the prosecution and the judge to guess why these ex-coppers were sacrificed. Oh, okay, I haven't even got down there. Sniper Sight's obviously more switched on than me, and he reads the news even more exhaustively than I do. We'll get to it then. We'll get to it. I'm sure that will answer some questions. It says, what was I saying? Oh, yeah, about the fence. So this is the point. You realise that your forebears have been basically doing a sort of trial and error system for centuries, for millennia. If you're like me and you've come from 70 generations, you don't know where I'm not like your average American who knows all my background. When you're born and raised in Borough for as far back as you know your family goes, I think my nana was from Whitby. And she told me that her dad was from Scotland, but like, you don't really think about these things, do you? Essentially, you realise that over millennia, your family, your forebears learn things with hard-fought experience, and they pass it down to you. And a conservative-leaning person realises how precious that is. So you go, maybe I'll be very, very risk-averse before I make changes to things. Whereas the lefty arsehole just goes, get rid of that. Tony Blair was all, get rid of that. Don't need that. Ancient law, ancient tome, revered manual. Don't need that. Fuck it. No thought goes into it. And Anglo-Saxon Christmas baby, thanks lads. You're lashing me up with booze today. Please do more live streams. All right, I'll have to start doing more of them. If you're going to keep buying me cans, I'll start doing more of them. As I did tell you a lot though, I started a new job in August, and I've been working absolute man's hours. To be honest, I am digging out blind, getting as much content as I do really, because I do like 12-hour shifts most fucking days now. So yeah, it's I'm doing my best. Weekends is typically my stream time at this point, but I will try. I appreciate the booze money. And this is what I'm saying. You've got to be careful. And I promise there is a point to this story, this roundabout anecdote. So what I'm getting at is what I've come to realize from reading all these stories lately about free speech and getting tied up in knots logically because of the stupidity of the people that run the world now. What you realize is the system that we inherited sorts it all out, doesn't it? Like, it sorts it all out. If we'd have just kept on doing it like we did in the 50s and the 60s and the 70s, none of these problems would have occurred. Because funny old thing, the system that we inherited from our forebears just sorted it all out. If everybody's got freedom of speech, you don't have to waste your time. And then you don't have to tie yourself in knots legally, do you? Because when we've started casting aside these ancient traditions, all of a sudden, the justice system's an ass. The law is an ass, or an arse, if you're a fucking Englishman. Isn't it? Because now you have to tie yourself in knots to make it logical. Can you say things? Well, you can say things, but maybe you can't say that. And you can definitely say, well, you can't say that. And yeah, Ash Sarkar can call me a pasty cracker, white boy motherfucker. But you can't just allude to the fact that she's not really English because she's Indian. But you can't say that, but she can't say that. It's fucking confusing. So if you just carry on doing what we always did, which just let everybody say everything, you don't have to make a mockery of the legal system. You don't have to tie your brain in knots. You can just carry on. It sorts it out. Democracy used to sort it out. Super sticker. I don't even think you can see them when you're in StreamYard. I think I'll have to go onto YouTube to see. I tried to upload some bootneck ones, but I don't know if they'll work. So let me have a look and see if I can see this when I log in on YouTube. Hang on. Hang on. You have to respond when people give you money. Let's have a look. It's here somewhere. How come I can't see my own fucking live stream? That's a bit weird, isn't it? Oh, there we go. Found it. Oh, there we go. No, that apparently is a hippo. I definitely didn't draw that hippo. I'll have to look into that. I'll have to look into that, Kate, and see why it's not working properly. But thank you for the hippo. Yeah, so the system works, doesn't it? Now the law is an arse. We tying ourselves in knots. We're not making any sense. We're contradicting ourselves. Judges contradict themselves. Lawyers contradict themselves. And now nobody in society has any confidence in the legal system. That wasn't the case in the 1960s because they didn't painfully contradict themselves again and again and again and again. Because everything worked. The system worked. Now we've starting on speech. It's a slippery fucking slope, just like all the experts said in the first place. Anyway, I'll read you this ludicrous fucking story. 6 former Met police have been given suspended prison sentences for sending racist, sexist, and homophobic messages on WhatsApp. Yeah. Like, you can't even give a good argument for sending someone to prison for being sexist if they do it in person, can you? If I walked up to a woman in Walmart and said, all right, love, get your gums around me plums, that's a sexist thing to do. But you can't prosecute me for it. Because there's no, you can't say it's illegal to be a sexist. Because you're just being rude. You can't have legally mandated and legally enforced state politeness, which is what you're trying to do when you tell people they're not allowed to be a little bit sexist. Fucking hell, there's all sorts going on in the chat today. Gifted 1 Angry Bootneck membership. I don't even know what that is. I'm assuming somebody else gets a membership, right? Is that what it is? No idea. Well, thanks, Richard, or whatever that is. Don't know how you get it. You just do. Dundas Arcade in the Borough. Get in. I do. You know, my missus said that. Obviously, she's from California. When I took her home to Middlesbrough, she said, yeah, walking around Borough really is like going back to the 1970s. It's a time warp to a better place. Maybe that's why I like it there. But anyway, you can't sentence people for not being polite. And essentially, when you start telling people, especially sexist, I know racist and homophobic have got some much more negative connotations, but sexist, fucking everything can be called a sexist, can't it? If a builder whistles at you when you walk past the building site, what are you going to do? Lock him up? And when you've put them all in the same category, then you've got to lock everybody up, haven't you? If we actually enforce these laws, ludicrous, insane, irrational laws, if we enforce them aggressively, everyone would be in jail. Are you telling me that you can you find anyone who hasn't at some point in the last year said something that's a little bit racist, sexist, or homophobic? Anyone? Like me dad's gone, oh, he's a pufter. Lock him up. Under these laws, that's what you've got to do. Lock him up. Jail him. So, do you see what I'm saying to you? The legal system in the UK and Canada and Australia, America's still in a way better position than everywhere else, which is why I'm smug about it. But it's ludicrous. It's fucking ludicrous. I can't believe more people aren't talking about it. So they've been given suspended prison sentences. And this is what I'm getting at. They didn't even say it in person. It would be ludicrous and immoral and unjust and irrational if someone said these things in person. But when you're sending it on a group chat in WhatsApp among your friends, it's a private, text-based fucking conversation. So it's jokes. It's in WhatsApp, it's going to be jokes. So if the logical conclusion to if we're applying these laws is that everybody should be in jail. All the comedians have to be in jail. Anybody who says anything sexist should be in jail. We don't even have to say it. Anybody who sends a slightly sexist quip via SMS, email, you know what I mean? If you write something slightly sexist on a note and then put it in a glass bottle and put a cork in and throw it in the sea, when someone finds it, you should go to jail, right? Desktop's $1.99. That'll buy me a pint of Ruddle's Best the next time I'm in Wetherspoons. Thanks very much, Desktops. Cheers, mate. Won't get me a pint in California, but it will get me 4 cans of piss from the local offing. So, cheers. Most bootnecks dressing in women's clothes at some point. Is it? Yeah, definitely. Definitely is. So, you know what? Yeah, this is true. This is what I'm saying. Having a laugh is illegal. So, the law is a joke. And society didn't used to think that. When your society thinks that the law is a joke, then you haven't got a society. That's not a hyperbolic thing to say. When society has got to the point where everybody thinks it's a fucking joke, you're in serious trouble, because why take anything seriously? Why pay your taxes? Why build for the future? You know, the old society grows great when men plant trees whose shades they'll never sit in. Why sign up to any of that if society's a joke? Because you're not confident. There's no point in building for the future. We're living in a fucking dystopian fantasy. This entire story is ludicrous on the face of it. And I would love to debate. Someone podcaster sent me a message, Ben, about doing a debate with some fucking wet woke van man. Not the blue van man, the one we like. This guy's called the soy-based, limp-wristed van man or something. And I'm going to have an argument with him in May. I think he's set it up for. And I look forward to that. Because you bring stuff like this up, and I want to hear a good fucking excuse. This is what I keep getting at. They will turn the fucking brain in knots trying to justify it, because you can't justify it. I'm not saying you should be racist, sexist, or homophobic. All I'm saying is, humour is going to be involved in the vast majority of WhatsApp groups. Humour is subjective and so is offence. And when you start writing laws like this, you have to prosecute people for telling fucking jokes because it's all subjective. What you find offensive, I find hilarious. Who decides? It's why the law has to be black and white. I find racist, sexist, and homophobic jokes funny. I wouldn't be racist or homophobic. I'd be sexist. So, sorry, girls. I'm an old-fashioned bloke. I wouldn't be homophobic or racist in real life. I never would be. Certainly not to somebody's face. It's fucking bad manners. But I find the jokes funny. Sue me. Sue me. There's loads of good jokes. Jokes are funny. Doesn't mean you're being serious. As I've said, you can't. When Ricky Gervais made the good joke about when he tells the paedophile joke. In fact, I'll tell you because I bet a lot of you haven't heard it. So the joke he tells on his one of his stand-ups, it's fucking old now, so I bet half of you haven't heard it. And he says that the what is it? There's a bloke reading a paper, and the daughter comes in and she says, "Daddy, Daddy, a man came up to me when I was at the park." And the dad says, "Oh no. What happened?" And she says, "Oh, he asked me to go in the bushes with him." He says, "Oh no. And what happened then?" And then she says, "Oh, he asked me to take my dress off." And he goes, "Oh no. What happened then?" She says, "And then he asked me to start touching him." He goes, "And what happened then?" She says, "I don't want to talk about it anymore now. I'm upset." And he goes, "You can't stop now." Right? That's his crass pedo joke. Right? And the point is, it would only be offensive if the only people that told and laughed at those jokes were convicted pedos. Like you stop outside a prison and you wait for someone to come out who's a pedo. And then you stop him and go, "Excuse me, mate, do you want to hear this class fucking pedo joke?" And that's not how humour works, right? Because the whole reason they're funny is because they're fucking grim as fuck. That's why they're funny. Most humour, if you think about it, the vast majority of jokes are funny because you don't expect the punchline. Almost all of them are, aren't they? I told you another one I really like, and it's funny because you don't expect the punchline is, I come home from work the other day, need to have a serious conversation with my missus. So I said, "Sit down, love. I really need to talk to you." And she said, "Oh, there's no more I. Not in this relationship. We're soulmates. We're like two halves of a whole. So it's we." And I said, "Okay, we fucked your sister." Right? That's funny because you don't expect the punchline. Most gags come from that, don't they? It's the subversion of what you expect them to say. So the vast majority of people talking about racism, sexism, and homophobia on WhatsApp are just telling jokes. I guarantee the vast majority of people who send a WhatsApp joke about rape aren't rapists, or paedophilia aren't pedos. So the idea that you can start locking people up for WhatsApp messages and taking them to court is genuinely fucking offensive to anybody with any regard for society and history and culture and humour and fucking freedom. And that's all I'll say about it, right? I'll start repeating myself because it pisses me off. But it's as simple as that. It really is. This story is a much, much, much bigger deal than anybody seems to be grasping with. I haven't seen it covered on YouTube very often. It seems like not that many people have paid attention to this, and they should be, because it's the biggest affront to personal liberty that I've read in months. Seeing that, because those blokes are telling jokes and they've all been given suspended prison sentences. It is fucking shocking. 63-year-old man, 66-year-old man, 67, 60-year-old blokes, all of them. None of them will have been career criminals. I guarantee all them 60-odd-year-old blokes, none of them have got criminal records for child abuse or rape or racist assaults or anything. And they're all got suspended prison sentences as a result of it. I think it's fucking disgraceful. And that's all I've got to say about it. Absolutely shocking. I'll tell you what, I'll do one more story and I'll take that one from the floor. So if anybody wants me to address an individual tale, please send it my way in the chat and I'll do it. My fucking tea's cold. Remember that copper who only got a suspended sentence? Yeah, well, this is what I'm talking about. So now you're getting the same sentence for fucking child porn, which the reason that's a big deal, right? It's not like it's like normal pornography. The reason that's a big deal is because somebody's creating it. And to create it, you have to Roger a fucking nipper. That's why it's a big deal. Joey Barton, I didn't even know he'd been back in the news. What's he done? No, I didn't even know. All right, I haven't got no good stories in the news. I'll tell you what, I'll pick one at random. Let's see what else is on the BBC website, shall we? How the UK's asylum deal is viewed in Rwanda. Don't care. Not going to happen anyway, is it? Boy charged with murder. I'm willing to bet he's. I'm willing to bet he has a certain appearance that nobody wants to talk about. There's them women who are all going to have a severe fucking limp in a couple of weeks. That fat left-wing noncy bastards hurt himself and I don't care. There's another fucking minister with a carbuncle on the side of her head that they should be having a rat north for a quarter. My favourite line. Whenever you see one. Impact of night work needs more research. Nightclub staff say they get terrible headaches and 4 or 5 hours of sleep. Yeah, that's what happens when you don't get enough sleep. Funny old thing. Wrong body cremated after. You have to laugh about that, don't you? Fuck me. That'll be a big deal as well to the followers, the regulars at Allen's, won't it? Because they don't cremate. They're like taking up more space. You know the people who just moved here? They're like taking up the most space in the graveyards because they refuse to burn anyone. So that'll be funny. I really hope that the person that got accidentally set on fire was a follower of a certain desert religion. Oh, Joey said women have no place in men's football. Women have no place. Well, see, you would assume that the fact that football's a physical sport, it's quite difficult, would preclude them anyway, wouldn't you? Because they're not going to get in. Sorry, exclude them. Another 130 million. Well, that's not a story. That's just, we know what we're doing. We're up to about 300 million. I mean, it's not going to get us anywhere. Yeah, everything's fucked. In fact, we'll call it there, shall we? I've had enough. My tea's cold and I want to go and make a proper one. Yeah, tonight is my work piss up, so I'm going to be drinking wine and hopefully enjoying life. Thanks for all the tips. I will use that. I'll pay it forward and use that to tip the barman who are plying me with free drink this evening. Thanks to everyone who tuned in. I will keep doing, as I said, I'm working a lot of hours, but I will keep trying to put up at least do 4 or 5 short ones a week. Because I've normally, basically, I wake up, go to the gym, I've got about an hour and a half, and then I go to work for fucking 12 hours. So it's in that time I try and squeeze a video out. If I get the chance, I'll do another live. But yeah, thanks for everyone for showing up. My channel's really took off in the last couple of weeks. I think Neil must have took me off the shit list. So yeah, thanks for all your help. Thanks for the cash and thanks for sharing it. I do appreciate it. And I will continue to try putting out shoddily, hastily assembled content intermittently as best I can. All right. Thanks for turning up. Cheers, everyone. See you all very soon. See you later. Have a good weekend. Cheers.